We're here on day 2 of the 11 Days of Remembrance back at the Estevan Legion, and joining me once again is the curator of the Southeast Military Museum, Mr. Craig Bird. You have a piece of brick here, and I'm really excited to find out all about it.
Yeah, so I actually went to the Netherlands this year and celebrated the 80th anniversary of the victory in Europe. And we traveled to a place called Zagen, Poland, where Stalag Luft III is located. And why that's important is people may have seen the movie The Great Escape with Steve McQueen. That was the prison camp that was in Poland that housed that. Now, of course, the movie is very Americanized. Most of the prisoners that escaped, or if not all of them, were all Commonwealth prisoners, so Brits, Canadians, New Zealanders, South Africans, that sort of thing. So we actually went to see where Harry was. That's the name of our code name for the tunnel that they were digging to escape. And the brick is actually part of the cooler, or the confinement area in the prison camp. So some of the things that are in the camp are still there. Not very much of it remains. It was all dismantled after the war to rebuild Warsaw because of the bombings and destruction. So not a whole lot there, but when we were there, got to see where like the guard towers and some of the prisoner housing was located, and this brick was there, as well as a bunch of other debris. But I thought it was just kind of apt to get a little souvenir. I know the curator, or I met the curator of the museum over there, so it was taken with permission. At the end of the day, they don't like people taking relics and souvenirs, obviously, off of that. But because it's going into our museum, they allowed us to have a piece or a souvenir. So because of the movie with Steve McQueen in it, I thought it was kind of a unique piece to say that we had, a piece of the cooler that he would have been in. There's always a Canadian connection. 76 prisoners were escaping out there. There were supposed to be 200, but they were discovered, unfortunately. And then because of the number of escapees, Hitler was very, very angry with all of this, and they were rounded up, all but 3 of them. And subsequently, they were made an example of. So 50 of them were executed by the Gestapo, and there was 6 Canadians that were executed as a result of the escape. So Flying Officer Henry Birkeland from Spear Hill, Manitoba, Flying Officer Gordon Kidder of St. Catharines, Ontario, Flight Officer Patrick Langford of Edmonton, Alberta, Flight Lieutenant George McGill of Toronto, Flight Lieutenant James Wernham of Winnipeg, Flight Lieutenant George Wiley of Windsor, Ontario. So those were all of the Canadian casualties. There was 3 other gentlemen that ended up being captured and put back in prison. Flying Officer George Sweener, Flight Lieutenant Bill Cameron, and Flight Lieutenant Albert Thompson, which ended up surviving the war and coming back. But a big tragedy. These guys were murdered and then subsequently buried there at the camp. So I was able to go to the cemetery where they have a memorial there for them and lay wreaths for those gentlemen having lost their lives.
And it also looks like you have Sand from Harry, a souvenir. Can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, so they have a really nice museum on site. As I mentioned earlier, the curator was there and actually gave us a tour and talked about that. They codenamed all of the tunnels Tom, Dick, and Harry. Harry was the one that they ended up using at the end of the day. And through ground penetrating radar, they found exactly where it started and where it ended, and they have a marking of that whole trail. So the ground was very sandy, so they did up little souvenirs again for the 80th anniversary to raise money for the museum. So I bought a little souvenir of sand from them as well to support their museum, and again, it's a nice little keepsake and a memorial for the Canadians that lost their lives.